getting a bad grade over and over. Nobody's changing your mindset about that sick grade that you had. Now, it leads into the sick mindset of, okay, so you were fortunate enough, God put you in a place and position to become this leader within the community or a high person somewhere in society. And that mindset that you had as a kid, not trying to find a solution to get a better grade. Now you don't have a solution to getting over the sickness.
Right.
Knowing that there's something that can be done, but now it's a generational cycle. So now we sit and talk about community. That's why these things keep happening.
Welcome, world. You have now tuned into another episode of the EL2A podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Gilmore. Now I'm on my primetime vibes today. As you can see, you know what I mean? My mama raised me right, but I want to have my hat on and my shades on when I'm inside. You know what I mean? Does that bother you? Nah, just playing. Hey, all right, fellas. Just shift gears a little bit. You know, I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about peace. This word came into my mind today, as you know, always getting ready for the podcast, and peace came to mind. And then, you know, I was thinking about, you know, you hear things that say it's hard for a man to have peace, or where does a man find peace? I kind of want to have that discussion to kick us off today. You know, where do you guys find peace? Where you know, each one of y'all, where do y'all find peace?
Man, it's a good question.
Oh, please.
Nah. I have more than one source. One is home. First off, I find peace in my home. That's my fortress.
Yeah.
So anytime, you know, long day, that's my northern star. I always tell myself, okay, well, even though the day may be rough, I'm going home, you know, at the end of it. And that always kind of like push me through. And I just love walking through the door. So whether my family there being chaotic or, you know, peaceful themselves, it really doesn't matter. It's coming home. That's what kind of soothes me. Another one is just kind of intrinsic, you know, just inner peace. I put a lot of stock in that because if you have inner peace, you know, you can just kind of push through a lot of stuff, you know, happiness and the rest of the emotions, like all those things are fleeting, but if you have that inner peace, you can find your way through a lot of situations.
Like, how about you, Rock? Yeah. So I definitely got to piggyback off Myles with the being at home with the family. A lot of the times, you know, it seems like everything happening around you in the world and you really can't get away from it. But when you get home, regardless if it's, you know, hugs or daddy cannot, you know, I still feel good, you know, to be able to go home and be able to just to be in my own environment of feeling like I'm safe and I'm away from all the dangers of the world, so to speak. And then I'm gonna switch gears. I find peace with when I'm just with the boys. That way when I say being with the boys, a lot of times that as men, I feel like we have moments in our life where we deal with certain things that we feel like only another man may be able to understand. Right. And a lot of the times, a man, our friends only understand because they are men, you know, and they may have experienced the same things. So if I'm dealing with something at a point in time in my life, I mean, of course, take it to God, but also, you know, being able to just to speak to the boys, just hang around and just whatever I'm dealing with, put it on them, or just let them hear it, and then get, you know, constructive criticism, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Whether I'm doing right or doing wrong, but being able to find peace in whatever it is that I'm dealing with. And trusting that the men that I hang around have my best interests at heart. So I find peace of chilling with boys. So.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. Cut different brings me peace as far as being with the boys, because it gives me another sense of empathy, another level of understanding, even with myself, through dealing with them. You know, so as I'm mentoring a young man, I can, that may be in an unfortunate situation, I can find peace in knowing, like, come on, what you complaining about? Like, this young man has to go on to this, or this young man environment provides this to him. I have nothing to be complaining about. Or a young man that just may be in a good situation, in that energy that they bring, in that excitement, a JJ or something, you know, just a situation that you always laughing when you're around them. So that gives me peace to know, you know, just to be around that energy. So that's always a good feeling. And I also have one being around the water, so like being in the ocean and going to the beach and stuff like that. I love the feeling of being replenished through God's, you know, creations. And that always takes me away to a different level of thinking. You know what I mean? I went to the beach. I never go to the beach. I think that was on spring break. Spring break, I went to the beach. I think I went by myself. And I mean, that was the most peaceful thing in the world to me, being able to get one of those little lay down little things and have a little coat, and I'm end up by myself just cooling. But that was the level of peace. And this topic came up to me because I think these are important conversations to have, even through our viewers, that as they're watching, you know, males or even females, you have to know where that is for you, where that place of peace is, because we live in a world full of chaos. So every day, if you go out, you know, side, you experience chaos. If you get on your phone, you're experiencing chaos. If you go to your job, you're probably experiencing chaos. So it's like, where do I find my peace? And if you don't have a direct, you know, line of communication, a line of how to get to that peace, it's gonna be hard for you. You just be in constant chaos, and then that ends up people going into depression, into anxiety, into all these different things because they just don't know how to find that, you know, that safe place.
Right.
And I think for us, even having these conversations through the men that's watching it, even for our boys, you know, it's because it's a different level. I'm telling. So especially as men, so I want to go talk to men specifically right now. You know, we just so built out being tough. You know what I mean? You just said going home is a safe place for it, peace for it. You know what I mean? So a lot of people don't think about that in that way. You know what I mean? I'm able to go home to a home. You know what I mean? I'm able to go lay my head down somewhere, and this is my holy grail. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I think, you know, our conversations are you making that comparison. Somebody can see it as, and you right. I got a house. You know, I'm gonna make this my peace. You know what I mean? Even if it's not, I'm gonna make this. You know what I'm saying? Make this my holy grail. And that's important to have these conversations. So man, it's very important that we keep having those. So to even to move on, I kind of want to get y'all the opinion though. So all right. So we got to start having some little funny moment dialogues during our podcast. All right. So I had a situation happen last night. I ain't even tell y'all yet because I want to get your live reactions on the podcast. I want to see what you think. So I think it is important through the podcast for us to have honest conversations to bring our real life to the podcast. All right. We got people that's viewing us, and they want to know the real us. They don't want to know no fronts. All right. So last night I had an interaction where, again, I've been gone all week. The kids got report cards on Friday. And I was going to say a certain person, but I'm going to go in and say it. If you see it, you see it. If you don't, my girlfriend, all right? So, you know, we at the house, and I asked her, my girlfriend has a son, and I asked her, I said, you know, well, how was his report card? And she introduces that he had a bad grade. So she told me the bad grade he had. So he had only one bad grade. But he had one bad grade. So I'm like, dang, well, I asked her why, you know, she did that with this and that, you know, whatever. I would say excuses, but other people say other things. Mm. And so he ended up coming out the raid. And the first thing I said is, hey, man, I heard you got a bad grade. If I come get right to it. And she made the remark of, how did she say it? She made the remark of, mention the good ones first. Fellas, let's talk about it. So hear me out. Now let me preface my question after that, all right? So your child, someone you know gets a bad grade. They also do have good grades. When you see them, are you going to say, hey, man, good job for those good grades? What about Val? You going to say, dang, what's up with this? Like, what should I have done, fellas? What would you have done?
First and foremost, we encountered that so many times, you know, when we're in the schools with the kids. He said, you asked them, you know, what you got on your report card? What's your grades? I got an A, I got 2 B's, no, I got 3 B's. I stopped him right there and there. No. Tell me, like, right, get straight to the point. Like, what are the bad grades? Because if there aren't any bad grades, then you go tell me, oh, I don't have any bad grades. I just got A's, B's, and C's. I can live with that. But I think it's the ones that try to cover up the fact that they have bad grades with that they may have a bad grade, and they're trying to cover it up, you know, with the A's and B's and C's. Well, no, that's no problem. I'm good with those. How do we bring attention to this one? Mm-hmm. How do we bring attention to this bad grade? And how can we go about making sure that you change that bad grade to, you know, to a better grade? So, I mean, when you hear that, like you say, not for nothing, it's excuses, because if you could get A's and B's and C's in these other classes, I'm sure you could get A's and B's and C's in this class that you got a D or F in. Yeah. So that same energy that you use the A's and B's, use that to get, you know, this low grade up to high grade. So I think it's just an excuse, you know.
What you think, sir?
for me, I start with the bad first. The reason being is because, you know, they're already aware that they got a bad grade, right? It's no surprise. So they already coming into the conversation with anxiety because it's like, okay, well, I know I got a bad grade. I know I'm gonna have to talk about it. Mm-hmm. So I start off with that to not necessarily get it out of the way, but to address it, then use the good grades to build them back up. Use that to fortify them and say, okay, yes, we already talked about the negatives, but you did do excellent on all these other grades. So, you know, game plan. What can we do to take that, like you said, take that energy you put in the other classes to apply it in this class that you're struggling with? So me personally, I start off with the bad grade every time because that's what I want to put the initial energy towards and then end on that good encouraging note.
So let me tell you guys how my explanation was. So I appreciate your input. Well, let me tell you what my explanation was. So I think I'm a high performing individual. I play sports. Okay, if I played sports and I did something in a game, I didn't go watch the film to go watch what I did good. Yeah, like I watched the film to watch what I did bad, so I can go into the next game and perfect the things that I was wrong at. All right, so when you're a high level individual, you don't focus on it. If there's a standard, like there's a standard to what you do. So I expect you to have good grades. So I should have to acknowledge when you're good grades because that's an expectation. And so when you break the expectation and you go below it, now I have to go to that because you're wrong. With me is you either do or you don't. And now you don't. So now I got to hit straight at that so you can understand that this ain't okay. You know that's good, but I shouldn't have to affirm you. Oh, good job. You did good grades. Bro, like in school, I think we got to the point to where we celebrating the BS. And we said that before. So we celebrate easy things. You're supposed to get good grades, all right? So I don't have to clap for you or give you money every time you get good grades. But when you get a bad grade, I have to point this out and I take it to the extreme all the time because I'm not a person that big into like the grades, like because I understand that grades don't identify somebody that's going to be successful because you know life is bigger than the grades. But I'm big in if you do or you don't. Right now, you get that. I keep saying that because I feel it's that simple. At this point in time, you went into the school, you sat there, no matter what the explanation that you're given, you didn't do what you were supposed to do.
Yeah.
You talked about, well, the teacher said this and that and da-da-da-da. And then he had the nerves to come out the room and said, well, I got good grades in all my other classes. Where you think that came from? That's because you went in there and you pointed out all the good grades first. Yeah. So now he wanted, that's his first rebuttal. Yeah. Well, I got good grades in my other classes. Yeah. That's not acceptable, bro. And I think in order for us to raise the level of people, we have to be identify the things you did wrong. Okay?
Because even at that point, when you make that okay, well, all right, I got this bad grade, but I got good grades in all these other classes. You're making that okay. So now going forward, if there's no, I'm not going to say ramification, but if there's no adjusting or bringing attention to those negative grades, then I'm going to feel like how many kids we came encounter with that say, the low grades in Spanish, D or F.
Yeah.
Well, I don't need it. I ain't going to be speaking Spanish in the future. What? How many, you know what I'm saying? So now you think about going to these different countries or different job opportunities that you can run into by speaking a foreign language. So it doesn't seem important to you now because somebody told you that's not a core class. So now you're not taking that class serious. And now you getting to the point where now you could, if you would have taken that class serious, that course serious, now you're making a different, you're in a whole nother price bracket as far as making money because you took that Spanish serious at a younger age or when you was in grade school. So again, if you bring, and that's why I bring attention to that now, like, nah, a D is just as important as your English or math class. Yeah. Or Spanish is just as important as your English or math class because they can benefit you later on in the future. Yeah. So again, if I would have made that okay, for me as a mentor, if I'm telling my mentee that D or F is okay in Spanish, now I'm setting him up for failure later on in the future because now he's not only accepting this low grade right now in this class, but what other things later on in life will he accept, because somebody made it okay.
Yeah, the biggest thing is just being clear what it is you're speaking to. So I use my own example. So when my girls underperform, I speak to the mentality that led to it. Because like you said, grades aren't the end all be all. Yes, we want them to have good grades, but I don't want them to get so fixated on that because you can sit there and chase these good grades, but still not, progress mentally with understanding the way that the world works and the systems work. So I speak to the mentality that led to them having the negative grade, and speak to the mentality that led to them having a good grade.
Mm-hmm.
So I make sure I speak to that and be clear with that. So it's not more so celebrating the good grades, it's celebrating your consistency. It's celebrating your discipline to get the good grades and to sit there and get the A's and B's. That's why I speak to. That's why I highlight, because that's the most important thing. If you just fixate on the grades, let's be honest, kids, they cheat on stuff, they do all this stuff just to get the grade.
Yeah.
So that's what happens when you just prioritize the end effect. I want you to look at the mentality that leads to that. That, okay, I'm gonna be disciplined, I'm gonna be consistent with my discipline. I'm not gonna look for external motivation.
Yeah.
Build up and develop that intrinsic motivation. I want to do this for me because I know I should do it. So those are things that speak to and really promote. So it's a balance in that, and then it's also about being clear.
I like the fact that you said about the mentality though, because again, so okay, we are discussing grades right now, but again, you said you go straight to the mentality though that led you to, or I guess the you didn't have the they didn't have the expectations to make that particular very good, but now fast forward to later on in life. So we said we're talking about men, so let's think about it. So as a man, if I was accepting low grades in school, or BSing through school as a student, won't you think that's going to show up later on in my life?
Yeah.
Because I accepted this at a younger age, and it was okay. Nobody made corrected my behavior. Nobody corrected my mentality at that young age of life. So now that I'm older, I revert back to what I used to do, because nobody changed. So now so when we look at men that choose not to step up in their kids' life, that's something I'd like to believe that something went wrong early in life that was never corrected.
And you have to make that parallel. You have to make that comparison. I mean, I was talking to my oldest daughter about this just this morning. I told her, I said, I know sometimes you may think we too hard on you, but again, you got to understand why. It's a mentality, especially someone like her who's gifted, who can sit there and quite easily make good grades even in an advanced course.
Mm.
Yes, my expectations for you are going to be so high because it comes easier to you than it does other people. And I was speaking to her because I was the same way in school. It came easy to me, but I was also lazy. So it's like I knew I could make an A, but because I knew I could make an A, I also didn't always give my best effort sometimes. So that being aware of your talent can be a crutch sometimes. And so that's why I speak to the mentality, because you have to, cradle that potential. You have to be careful with it, because that potential, I mean, is there, but it can be unrealized if it's not really spoken to. Mm. And so I got her. I say, look, think of the mentality that's behind these grades. You got a poor grade on something when for a fact you could have gotten an A. You should have gotten an A. But a choice you made, a mentality you had, led you down a path that led to having a bad grade. I have to speak to that. As your parent, as your father, I have to speak to that. I can't let that go. Because like you said, now when you're a young woman and, now you are outside of our house and you doing things on your own, if I don't, now you subconsciously think it's okay to kind of take your foot off the pedal when you know that you're in full capabilities of mashing it and going 100%, going all out. And like I always ask them, if you know you can do something, why not do it? Yeah. Why just choose not to do what you're capable of? That's a mentality. If you have that mentality of not doing that, it's a recipe for disaster.
Man, Tom Brady didn't become Tom Brady by focusing on what he did good.
Mm-hmm.
Beyonce didn't become Beyonce by focusing on what she did good. All these individuals that we look up to and we glorify didn't become who they were by looking at what they did good. And that's my whole point. It's just like y'all were basically saying the way you do one thing is the way you do all things. All right. So we're building a habit of seeking, when point blank in your face, you were seeing something that's calculating your efforts, and you see something that's wrong, but you're rather focused on the good. That we can't grow with that. If I see a clear paper cut of saying this, okay, this is you, and this is how your standards are right now. If I go directly to the good things, I am not trying to be a better person because I'm already good in that area. I have to go fix what's wrong. And that was my whole point. And I think that comes at all levels. And again, it's a standard. You have to build standards amongst ourselves. I don't care what's the age of our kids. You have to be able to build standards amongst them. To where, and I said this at one of our meetings in there, I had expectations on my life when I was a child. You know what I'm saying? So when I went certain places, people expected me to do certain things because of who my parents were.
Right.
I had to rise up to the expectation. You get what I'm saying? So who my parents were, certain expectations for me. You know what I'm saying? So when you are expected to do something, you try to meet that. The kids that don't have any expectations, they're the one that's usually out there in the streets doing that because no one's looking for them and no one's placing this type of standards on their life. So when you have those standards, you have a higher level of succeeding. I mean, you got a village, you got accountability. Again, this is what we talk about accountability. We try to build accountability amongst our kids, and the same thing as adults as well. They transfer, right? So they transfer that. But that's just my little spiel for the day, man. I appreciate y'all's input, but that's just my little piece for the day. But we did have a quick subject that we wanted to touch on today. I don't know, Myles, man. I had a topic in my head, and Myles kind of came to me yesterday during mentoring. He's like, man, what you think about this topic? I was like, ooh, that's pretty much hit. So it kind of like I think the last one we did as well, you came up with that topic. But the topic, I don't want to steal your thunder, so I know the topic basically comes from just living amongst, I guess earlier I just said something about chaos. But dysfunction is the word that comes to my mind. Right. That's what came to my mind when we were talking last night. Like, we make a habit of being okay with dysfunction. All right. So being in an environment or being in a situation where you know things are wrong, things need to be fixed, but you come okay with being in it because I guess it's the easiest thing.
Yeah.
Right. So I kind of just to preference where we get, I want to lead it over to you to kind of throw what I came from when you said it.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we always have our ears kind of close to the ground. We're in the community, we engage. So we hear things, we see things all the time. So I like to start looking inwardly first, locally, and then start expanding, on social media, look at things. It's something that really just kind of struck out at me, this pattern that I started noticing. And like I was talking to you, what I started noticing is people have become attracted with being ill. And I'm not talking about a cold, I'm not talking about the flu, but ill meaning like as you said, dysfunction, living in dysfunction, chaos, being chaotic, being all these different things that don't lead to any positive ends. And it definitely seems as though they like it because it comes with a level of attention that they get. It's like I told you, it's like a kid when a kid is sick. A kid doesn't like to actually be sick. They don't like to actually have the chicken pox or to have a cold or stomach virus and be puking. But you have to think, a kid also likes that attention, though, that comes with being sick because mommy and daddy's there, doing a little baby talk to them, sitting with them, putting them, tucking them in, giving them food in bed, watching TV. Like, as a kid, you got to think. It's like, well, shoot.
Don't gotta go to school.
Yeah, that's kind of sweet. I remember when I was a kid, shoot, yeah, same thing. When I got a cold, I'm like, man, it's up being sick. But then I'm like, man, I'm getting some attention. I'm getting good life. Chilling. And so it's like subconsciously, it's like, well, you don't fear being sick anymore because it's coming with something. You see what I'm saying? Like, okay, I got a cold, my body don't feel good, I got a headache, but also, mommy's here, daddy's here, give me all this attention. I don't have to do no work. I can put my feet up, watch cartoons all day. And so it hit me. I'm like, when we think of it on the larger level, is that any different from some of our people, some of these communities that we come across, some individuals that we may even know personally that we come across? It's the same thing. Every time you see them or you tune in, it's always something, but what you don't ever see them is actually going for a solution. Now, a lot of times the solution is right there or is readily available, yet you never see them actually progress past their ailment. And so people fall in love with the ailment.
It does a certain level. So people seek, like we just said, they seek where they actually don't seek. But how about say seek negativity? That's what I was getting at. People look for more so of a negative thing. So when you say we're being sick, there's medicine out there. People know there's medicine, there's cures to okay, if you're dealing with loss, if you're dealing with whatever you're dealing with, there's usually something out there that's going to help you to get over your point. But most people like the sorrow in that. They'll rather, you have to call me to make me feel better. You have to call me to provide me what I need instead of me going to seek out that information. And I think that's more so the problem. Even so in the podcast sound like this, we always talking about this setting of what the information that we given. We know this could be life-changing to somebody, but they would rather go watch a Sexy Red video talking about nothing. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So if we go to Sexy Red, YouTube, or any of the social media people, they got millions of followers. I literally just watched the social media page where they go out. I guess they be at like at nightclubs or whatever, but they go out asking people to interviews. Oh, and use actual like sexual questions, like what do you do? And these days got millions of views. It's like people like, bro, you would literally rather sit here and listen to this to listen to something that's gonna benefit your life. Like all you doing is getting from this conversation is some negative thoughts and make you gonna go want to do something negative. Yeah. But you won't take the time to, on the same platform you are, to Google something that's gonna help you to benefit you. That's an illness.
Yeah,
that's an illness.
It's because, you know, it's like when you're sick, right? And you take your medicine. We were talking about expectations before. Mm-hmm. When I take that medicine, the expectations that I'm getting better, that I'm going to get better. So now when you sit there talking about resources and being solution oriented and all these different things, they don't want to take that medicine because now it's on them. They now have the responsibility so that they're getting better.
Yeah. And the prime example. So I'm able to, let's be real on the podcast. Like I'm constantly in a state I want to grow, bro. I want to be better. So like this weekend, I went out to Tennessee. I was with my little brother, and I knew what it was because I think this is the first time I really like been out with him while he's been 21, and so he kind of put me back in like my college like feel like days. So you know what I mean? But I had to stop and think that was the next day. But the next day, I'm thinking of like, okay, there's certain things you can do and certain things you can't do.
Right.
You get sometimes you can go outside your environment. You can think that, okay, well, I ain't home. I can let but I still had to like. In my mind, in my growing stage, had to be like, you got to be careful. You get what I'm saying? You can't just be out here just, you know, not like I'm doing that too crazy, but, you know, just drinking wild, been out on the streets all while. You just got to be cautious of what you're doing. But that's growth. You get what I'm saying? So in that moment, I took that love the next day to assess what I did the night before and say, okay, I got to keep growing. Maybe, you know, let's do something different or go somewhere. And that's the constant state. I don't think people take that next level to constantly question what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like that next, like, why did I just, what can I do to get more out of it? People are not doing that, bro.
A lot of times too, so even think, so I know we moved on from the topic, but again, think about a kid being sick, so we're referring to somebody being sick. So at a young stage of life, if somebody was doing something, if a kid is doing something that's viewed as sick, getting a bad grade over and over, nobody's changing your mindset about that sick grade that you have now. It leads into the sick mindset of, okay, you were fortunate enough, God put you in a place and position to become this leader within the community or a high person somewhere in society. And that mindset that you had as a kid, not trying to find a solution to get a better grade. Now you don't have a solution to getting over the sickness.
Right.
Knowing that there's something that can be done, but now it's a generational cycle. So now we sit and talk about community. That's why these things keep happening. We don't progress as a community because the things that we see or we deem as negative, probably by a majority of the people that see these things as well, there was never any expectation set. There was never any actual nobody made them change the way that they thought, that thought process, their mentality from back in the day. So now it's prevalent now in society when these things constantly happen. Yeah, and I feel like a lot of the times it boils down to, like you said, the support. If the support is home, if somebody's at home teaching you or leading you in a way, and I know you're sick. I remember our mom always, when I used to get the flu, it seemed like every year, bro, I used to hate it. But one thing she made me do, like, even though I was sick, I wanted the lady. I wanted her to feed me, sure enough. But at the end of the day, no, Eddie, you need to get up. You need to get this drink. So she's pushing me to break out of that sickness.
Right.
So now as I'm older, that mentality, okay, if my mom isn't there, or not that she isn't, I'm pretty sure she would, but I don't need my mom there to spoon feed me when I'm sick. I can do that on my own. So if you look at the mentality of people, again, they either they weren't shown that way or they never thought to change that mentality from back in the day to switch or to I guess to elevate them later on in life, to help them, progress in life through a sickness.
Right.
So
And the thing is too, like the danger of, I mean, because you got to think, they end up, people like that end up conflating two different things, right? They'll try to equate it to make it seem like it's the same when in reality it's not, right? So they'll have this sickness, which is largely self-induced because they can get themselves out of it. Just like if I get a headache now, I got the power to go take some Tylenol. I can choose not to, and my headache can keep getting worse, right? But they'll conflate their self-induced, self-inflicted sickness with saying, well, the world is just so ate up, I can't get by. And so that detracts from people who are actually trying to be problem solvers to be out here and to help change the system, to give people a more equitable chance. You know what I mean? Because now you have all these people now sitting there saying, well, I can't do it. I can't do this. I can't do that. And it's like, you can. Like, you able-bodied. You have friends. You have other resources that right there that can help you get a next step up. But again, you rather choose to be afflicted because you like the attention that comes with it. You're not even seeking a cure. You're just sitting on it. What sense it made?
Yeah. It reminded me of the conversation we were having with the boys last night when I put on the video the dude with the leadership. He was talking about like our brains aren't built to fail. Like, our brains are built to figure it out. So like, it's important to what we tell ourselves. So the word behind it. So again, in the video, he made the statement of, so like a skier, like when the skier going through the slope through the trees, if they focus on the trees, they're going to hit the trees because their mind is thinking the trees. But they don't even think, they don't even look, they focus on the path.
Right.
The path that they're going in, and that's what allows them to weave through the trees. It's the same thing with a person that's trying to develop. Like, what are you focusing on? Again, if we these phones, bro, this is, bro, these things, bro, this is killing us. When I click on my Instagram, bro, what do you think I see?
Yeah.
Foolishness, chaos. So we get caught up in it, and it becomes normalized. So now these things are normalized. So when I'm looking for information, I'm normally looking for drama, because drama is what's put out. Even when we go to politics, if you're talking about politics, you don't really see the informational pieces. You see the conflict that you're having in politics. Our world is all built off conflict, man. So when people, you kind of even can understand why a person gravitates to that, because that's all they being fed, bro. You have to literally make a conscious decision that I want better, and I'm going to choose better for myself. I'm going to block out all these pages. I'm going to block out all these people out of my life, and I'm going to go get better for myself. Yeah. That's the only way you could do it, because it's too much chaos. It's too much BS, and it's too much just negative energy in the world. You can't do better if you don't have like literally a plan. You get what I'm saying? You won't be able to succeed.
Yeah, and then, I mean, you made a great point, especially with that video saying how when you focus on the tree, you're going to hit the tree. You know, they get on there, they keep focusing on all the negative stuff, and then you got to think, every time you sit there, you share that negativity, that BS, right? Think of it, it's akin to know that you're sick, you sneezing in somebody else's face, because you exposing them to the idiocy, you exposing them to the BS. And people are so, it's about the quick hits. Most information isn't a quick hit. You're going to have to sit down and actually read it, analyze it, digest it. You read up there saying stupid stuff, that take 5 seconds out your day, but it's the long-lasting impacts of that, because now you're damaging just your consciousness. Like, the way that you view the world is just all about that. So, you know, they share these things, they just sneezing in another person's face, basically, sneezing. Now, you have all these think pieces because people they saw somebody share something about Sexy Red on one of these podcasts that just say some of these crazy things. And then another person see the post, they start commenting on it. Now they start arguing in the comment. Then because of the argument, the person who saw it originally and started commenting, they share it and be like, oh, see, this dude's stupid or this girl's stupid, blah, blah, blah. They say it's talking about gender roles, so now it keeps getting shared because people keep talking about it. So it's like now we just made a whole community sick off one post, and now everyone's algorithm messed up.
And it's talk of the town. It goes around, it spreads around. Even situation, unfortunate situation had at school when we talking about with the fights that's happening at the school, and you get parents involved and stuff like this. Bro, this is the sickness, like, all around. You get what I'm saying? So it's so easy to talk about our youth, but this is a full all around sickness. And again, when people are, it's just easy. It's easy to go to that negative itch or whatever. It's so easy to gravitate to that. That's why. So people always say it's hard. It's hard to do the right thing. It's easy to do negative. It's easy to react. It's easy to get emotional. It's easy to snap.
Right.
I'm gonna snap. I'm about to snap on you. That's the easy thing to do. We gotta, build a habit of making those harder decisions, to put people in situations to where they have the tools and strategies to make the hard decisions. So do y'all think let me ask y'all this. Do y'all think it's more so people don't know how? Or do you know what I mean? I guess in the sense if it's a negative thing that's more juicy, more attractive than a positive thing right now, I just don't, because I haven't seen it, or is it just on that person? Like, what is it that's what do y'all think?
I mean, again, that just goes back to the mentality. I just like, the mentality and what were you shown, something over the course of time. Even in the sense of, we shouldn't say like saying negative stuff on social media. There are times where I could get on social media and I'm starting, scrolling, but then something clicks. All right, there's just too much junk for this, now I need to go and do something productive. But that's just something that I learned over time. So my mentality won't allow me to dwell in sickness for a long time. My mentality won't let me just sit and stay stagnant for so long where I actually reaching trying to be successful. So again, I think that's just, it could be inherited. I mean, again, it's the thing that you learn at a young age of life. And when we do the work that we do with these young men, that's why it's so pivotal, because some of them may not be in a home where the support is there. They may not be taught the correct way of growing up as a man. But if we instill certain things in them now, later on in life, it'll kick back in. But then it gets to that point of their mentality. What do I want for myself? Yeah. Do I want to get through the sickness, or do I want to dwell in everything else do I want to be like everybody else? Do I want to sit and just stay stuck on Sexy Red because everybody else stuck on Sexy Red? Or do I post things, or do I share things that's positive and uplifting to be a game changer?
Well, the thing is that at the end of the day, one thing we have to be bluntly honest with and truthful is that we made it profitable to be sick. We made it profitable to be sick. People may not want to say it, but I'm gonna say it because it's true. We made it rewarding to sit there and keep talking about your afflictions, not the cure, but your afflictions.
Yeah.
So it stops there. So you have so many people who still stuck at the first phase of problem solving, which is just identifying the problem. So everyone can tell you, I got the problem. And we as society have accepted that that's good and just to just sit there and identify that you have a problem. But it's never to go to the next step. We never put that on people. And now if you sit there and say something, right, now they sit there and put pressure on you for speaking the truth to it and saying, well, no, don't say that. That's being too harsh. Or, you're not listening good enough, or you're not doing. It's always an excuse as to why they should stay at phase one.
Yeah.
People got to grow up. They got to realize and say, you know what? At some point in time, I'm tired of being sick. They say it all the time on Facebook. They say it all the time on social media. I can get on my phone right now, scroll. I guarantee you I have 50 posts where somebody's just complaining about something, yet they don't actually go try to find solutions. They don't network. They don't ask people. They don't actually try to get out of that rut. Because, you sit there and say, oh, I'm sad today. I'm depressed. 50 carry acts. People down there comment, oh, you such a good person. You such this and that. You know what I mean? You get on there and say, hey, I want to sit here and do this for the community. I want to sit here and help this person out. I want to move our thinking to a higher level. Crickets. Because that requires work, right? So why would I sit there and put in this work to move a mentality up in a community? Why don't you just say I'm sad and get all the love from the community?
Yeah. I'm a challenge, man. So let's challenge our community, man. You people that's watching this, we want to challenge y'all. So we said a couple of things. So I want you to ask yourself right now. That's the first thing I need y'all to do. I need you to ask yourself right now, do I love being sick? All right. Am I okay with being stuck in my current situation? Am I okay with that I'm not living where I want to live? Am I okay with that my kids aren't the way I want them to be? All right, okay, I don't have the job that I want to be. You have to have that self-reflection in yourself. That's the first point. And then after that, you have to do whatever it takes to get you up out of your spot. You got to stop depending on other people, man. It's you. It's only you that's going to get you out your situation. Anything I ever did in my life, it's a situation that I wanted better. I chose that I wanted better, and I strove every day to get that. The person that I am today, I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but I got here through hard work. I got here through hard work, dedication, through research, and me researching or looking to other people that were in a position that I wanted to be, seeing how they move, what they do, what I need to do, getting some advice, seeking mentorship, networking with the right people, Like, you got to get outside your comfort zone. Stop sitting and allow yourself to be sick. There's all types of medication out there for whatever you need. And we're not talking in the literal sense. I'm talking about medication in the sense of getting you that new job, medication in the sense of making your kids the kid that you want to be, or medication in the sense of giving you that pay raise that you need to be. Need to get. It's a bit like it's there for you. And I want to challenge. I'm telling you, I want to challenge everybody that's watching this to go get it, man. Stop making those excuses. And I think that's what we got to do. We got to challenge people, man. Challenge to be their better self. Everybody has it in them. God put it in all of us. He all these things God put on this earth, he put it in for us. You know what I mean? We want all of us to bear all these fruits in this world, to be able to be who we want to be, define our lives, all these things. And there's so many different taglines. Define your life, be your best self, all these things that try to inspire people to hope for more, to be more. It's just people choose to not do that. People choose again, and we've been beating you up, sexually. I'm sorry, I know you watch it, but we've been beating her up, but people choose to say skinny. That's the easiest thing to do. It's very catchy. You dance and have a little fun, and you go about your life. But you don't want to go listen to Eric Thomas. You don't want to go listen to whoever else that's going to help you provide value to your life, man. So, yeah, we got to start doing better. We got to start doing better. And we have to challenge ourselves to add value to our life. So I want everybody, as we wrapping it up, I want everybody to give these people sense of some motivation, man. Sense of something, what they need to do, I guess, to get away from that being sick. You said it perfectly with the explanation of the child. So a child being sick, all right, child being sick and knowing, okay, I'm sick. I really don't like being sick, but I love the benefits that come with being sick because I'm about to get catered to. I ain't gonna have to go to school. I ain't even gonna have to leave my room. Everything is gonna come to me. I'm about to get spoon fed during this time. I love it here. Most people love it where they're at because the government is spoon feeding them little checks or food stamps, all these different things. So it's comfortable. I don't have to do nothing to do this. I get this little stamp. I'm gonna give my people some. I'm gonna sell some, and I'm still have plenty enough to be where I want to be. I'm comfortable where I'm at.
Right.
I'm good here. Now I got, people, my auntie never gonna come scoop me up and take my kids where they need to go. My mama gonna.
Right.
I'm good here.
Yeah.
In the projects where I'm at. I'm good here. Why? Like, how can they get up out of that, man? We need, what can the people do to get up out of that?
Well, it's largely, your mentality. At the end of the day, failure, death, sickness, it's going to have to catch me on the run. You ain't going to catch me in my bed of sleep. You know what I mean? It's going to have to catch me on the run. I'm going to hit life with everything I got. And you have to adopt that mentality. Failure, the only time you fail, like they say, is when you stop trying, when you give up. That's the only time. You're going to get those bumps and bruises. That's okay. That's learning. You chalk that up to the game. It's going to happen. So don't run from it. You know what I mean? Like, run towards your goals. And then I've said this numerous times, check your circles. You have to check the people that you're around, because if you have somebody who keeps you sick, who keeps sitting there coddling you every time you sneeze, right? That person's not trying to help cure you, man. And y'all just all season each other's face. Y'all keeping the whole room sick. Air it out. Open that window, walk outside, do the things in life that we're talking about, in a parallel fashion. Go out. Go outside of, like you say, your comfort zones. Go out there and see what's all out there. You'd be surprised how many resources are out there, how many people are willing to network with you, to try to help you, try to elevate you. It's there. I promise you it's there. We've all said before, like, man, ain't nothing. I'm from the country, man. I grew up not really knowing anybody outside my family.
Yeah.
But I took the chances. I took the risks. I put myself out there, and I kept going. Yeah. And now here I am. And like you said, I'm not where I want to be at. But when I look back from where I came from, man, it's irrefutable that it is all about the way that you view life and how you attack it. You can't get there.
Yep. How about yourself, right? Yeah, so it's crazy. So, all right, when you get sick, I'm sure everybody had COVID before, right? They had COVID, and, you're like, man, I hope it don't take me out. So what's the first thing we do? God, we pray, right? God, please help me. Help me get through the sickness. Same thing. You're not sick literally, but you're sick mentally. God, please help me get through this sickness. Help me see where it is that you want me to go. And I think that's a lot of the thing. Those are things like that I think we kind of take for granted, being able to recognize that God does know where he wants us to go. So there, for myself, there were times, you know, when I felt like there were, so to speak, I was sick in life, you know, and I didn't know after I got, you know, had my child and got my degree, trying to get jobs, and I couldn't get a job with a degree. I had to, God, what do you want from me? And leave me and I'll go. So at that point in time, that's when things seemed like it got clear for me. It did get clear for me. And that wasn't the only time that happened, but it bred something. Now I know when I get into a certain situation, don't give up and wallow in whatever I'm dealing with. Ask God for guidance. Ask God to show you where it is that He wants you to be. And I feel like that's all that I feel like if people give their thoughts, give their, you know, God thinks you can't outthink God. You can't outdo God. So, you know, lean on Him in order to get you through whatever it is that you're dealing with, in order to help you get to a better place in life. So, I mean, it's just that simple. But you got to believe that He will get you through to see, you know, the bigger picture.
Amen. Amen. Hey, faith without works is dead, though. Move your feet. Hey, you can pray all you want, but you got to move your feet, God. So move your feet. On them prayers, God gonna hear you, but you got to move your feet. You got to meet Him. He said you got to make He gonna do His job, but you got to make sure you're doing yours. It just can't be no one-sided show. But for me, I was thinking about this when I was saying this, man. Throughout my whole life, man, I had to work hard to get through a lot of things and to be that person I was and be to where I'm at today. All right. So when we talking about you that not being okay with being sick, I remember times, man, when I was an athlete, to be the top athlete, having to work out every day, having a game and being the next day, Coach Collins being out front of my door, we going running the next day, like literally having to do the hard things, being a Division I athlete, having to do the hard things. I also remember a time when I was in grad school, needed an internship. I had to get an internship to graduate, to get my master's. I literally and I wanted to do MLB. I experienced the NBA. I experienced the NFL. As far as I knew what it was, I never knew what the MLB was. I wasn't introduced to baseball. I said, I want this experience for myself. I literally, if you go to every MLB team, you go to the website, they have their front office staff. It's a directory full of people. I literally emailed every person off every MLB team. I think it's 32 teams maybe. Every person off every team, I emailed everybody, literally. Just to get, I needed one. Guess how many people emailed me back? One. And guess how the intern I got it.
And you had to do all that.
I had to do all that for that one opportunity. I had to literally every ML person on the front staff director. I emailed literally every person for this one opportunity, and I got it. Again, I prayed during that time too, but I was moving my feet while I was praying. It has to match up, bro. You have to do it. Nothing in life comes easy, and I enjoyed that experience of my life. You get what I'm saying? Right now, where I'm at Cut Different. We started Cut Different in 2020. There was a full year of volunteering, no pay, nothing, grinding for a year, praying, but moving my feet, doing the work, meeting people, going out every night, up all night on my computer, researching, figuring out how to do literally for 2 years for this to be what it is, bro. You get what I'm saying? We had to put in work for this. This didn't come easy. You know what I'm saying? So you have to know that nothing in life is coming easy. You have to put in the work. And if you don't put in the work, you're going to be where you're at. And that's what it is. And you chose that. Nobody else chose that for you. If you are where you at in your situation, that's the situation you chose to be in. All right. And let's not go to the street. Some people say, well, this and that and that. At some point, you got control over your situation. We choose not to focus on what we have control on. We choose to focus on what we can't control. And that's where we lose. Stop focusing on the things you can't control and focus on what you do have control over, and take full advantage of the opportunity to take control over that. And I guarantee you, your life changed.
You know,
it did. But nah, man. Another episode of the EL2A podcast, man. We appreciate you all for tuning in. We don't take it lightly. For the people that take time out their day to get this guidance, man, this gain, that guidance, attention, motivation, and education throughout this experience, throughout the podcast. We hope that, you know, what we're sharing, the information that we're sharing, the stories, and just everything that we give that is helping you, that is it benefits you. We don't want you to take what we're saying and take it as is golden or what we say is right, but we just want to get the wheels going. I want you to take what you say. Well, he said this, or let me go do my own research. I just want you to think for yourself. We always say we preaching the do for self mentality. The do for self mentality look like, okay, I may watch a video and this man might get my brain, or this man or woman may get my brain going. I may not believe in certainly everything they saying, but they got me thinking.
Right.
And then I'm gonna go do my own research to get my own belief on what you're doing for self. Okay, to make what's best for you. What work for me not gonna work for you. It may not, but you have to figure it out for yourself. Like on this podcast, you're going to get that real game from 3 individuals that's actually doing the work. You know, we not up here asking for handouts. We doing the work every day. We putting in the work to be our best selves, to be the people for our community, the people for our families. And that's what you get when you tune into this podcast. Again, throughout this podcast, man, we're going to have, this is a family. We're going to have family events. We're going to make this thing bigger than ever. I think we're on episode of, I don't even know what episode we're on right now. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all, but we getting on up there, man. And throughout our process of learning, this experience is gonna get better. We're gonna get better equipment, better things in here. And I mean, you're gonna be here to experience the growth. You're gonna be here to experience the journey. And that's what it's all about. You're gonna be able to say, man, this guy said they were gonna do this and they did. We're gonna show you what it's like to put the work in. And we're gonna show you the fruits of your labor, putting in the work, how it goes. That's what we're gonna show you on here, man. So follow us on our social media. It's EL2A Podcast on Facebook, EL2A Podcast on Instagram as well. And subscribe to our YouTube channel at Cut Different. All right, I think that's it, man. Y'all got anything else I want to shed light on with the people? Did I miss anything? We got anything else going on? I think that's it, man. Other than that, man, until next time, we'll see y'all next week.